Good evening, everyone. This is Telangana American Telugu Association. We are hosting a webinar on immigration topic today. TTA was founded by like-minded people, and mainly our founder with his vision, we formed 10 years ago to serve the community and as well as to provide the people in need whatever it is needed. If the example is this one, but we provide a lot of community services. The other thing which we have done so far is like promoting the Telangana and Telugu culture around the globe, not only just in United States. We support each other and we promote the culture. That is our main goal. So definitely it is helpful, this webinar. I hope so. And I would like to thank our founder, Dr. Patel Reddy Garu, for founding this organization and for having a platform like this to help each other. I also sincerely extend my thanks to our advisory council, starting from chair, Dr. Vijaypal Reddy Garu, and our co-chair, Dr. Mohan Reddy Patlola Garu, and our advisory members of Bharat Madadi Garu and Srinivas Anugu Garu. I also want to thank our past president, Vamshi Reddy Kancharakuntla, and our current president, Naveen Reddy Mallipeddi Garu, for giving us an opportunity to have these kind of webinars and also to be together to support each other. Thank you, first of all, for all the participants and the today's guest, and our moderator, Praveen, and also Jyoti Reddy Garu from Phoenix, Arizona. Now, I would like to Naveen Garu to say a few words.
Thank you, Kavitha Garu. Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar. And thanks to our who are organizing this webinar. This is going to be a good one because these days it's EB5 is the one. After I know there are a lot of confusion between Trump card and EB5. So, and I'm curious too. So, and first of all, let me thank our founder, Dr. Pailamalla Reddy Garu, and our advisory council, Vijaypal Reddy Garu, Mohan Reddy Garu, Bharat Garu, and Srini Anu Garu, and our past president, Vamshi. And thanks to Arizona team for hosting this webinar. And Praveen, thank you very much. Jyoti Reddy Garu, thank you very much. And all our RVPs. And I'm so thankful to my executive committee and board of directors and RVPs, standing committees, and RCs. Thank you very much for being with me, supporting me, and special thanks to Arizona team for conducting this webinar today. And thanks to our guest speakers, Ishwar Garu and Rakesh Garu. Thank you very much for coming up and setting up this webinar, because I feel I'm from business background, and a lot of people will be asking me like EB5, what is the terms and conditions for EB5? But this is a good session for them. And most of the doctors these days, they want the green card sooner. So I strongly believe this is going to be a good session. And thank you very much, Arizona team. And Kavitha Garu, thank you very much.
Thank you, Naveen Garu. I will hand over to Praveen to moderate this session and introduce our guests. Praveen, you are speaking on mute.
All right, sorry. So thank you so much to our TTA leadership, Navinanda and everyone, for giving us opportunity to host such kind of insightful sessions. So there are, of course, there are a lot of entrepreneurs and businessmen, doctors, attorneys, like who are aspiring to get their green cards. So within the community, like as Navinanda said, like a lot of people are waiting for the green card because that has become need of the hour, but a lot of people are not aware and what's really going on and how they can explore different avenues to get the green card. And Dr. Patel, Attorney Patel and Ishwar, kindly agreed to join us for to provide an insightful session on EB5. So thank you so much, Attorney Rakesh Patel and Ishwar Margani. So I just want to briefly introduce Attorney Rakesh. So Attorney Rakesh is the managing partner of Patel Law Group, and his expertise is in EB5 immigration, business immigration, family-based immigration, and real estate. And with an MBA degree, Rakesh provides comprehensive legal services to immigrants, investors, and business owners. and businesses as well. So he's recognized as top 5 rising star for EB5 attorneys in the US, and has extensive experience in employment-based and family-based immigration, as well as other real estate transactions. And thank you so much, Rakesh Patel, for joining us today. And coming to Ishwar Margani, so he's a principal general partner and for the Future-T Investments, and he comes up with a lot of IT background. He has over 20 years of experience as an technology leader and a delivery leader, and he's also the founder and CEO of Future-T lending company. And he's a passionate real estate investor, and he comes up with a lot of knowledge, and he just want to share his expertise on how easy it is for someone like who want to make their green card aspiration become a reality. And now I'll open it up to Rakesh Patel and Ishwar to give us your insights on how someone can pursue this EB5 investor visa, and how it's going to help them get the green card as soon as possible. And then like we'll go over some Q&A. Thank you so much. Over to you, Attorney Rakesh Patel.
Thank you, Ishwar, and thank you, Praveen. I appreciate the kind introduction. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. And I think somebody just messaged, said, can you share your contact? I'll do that after I present and put everything out there. So just to give you a brief background, my name is Rakesh Patel. I've been practicing law for 20 years, have been doing EB5 for 10 years. It's my main specialty. I manage the firm, but the only area of the law that I really practice in, for the most part for myself, is EB5. Now we do a bunch of other work, including real estate, securities, all other immigration types of work, but I work in EB5 primarily, and have been named is it okay if I share my screen?
Sure. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Can everybody see that?
Not.
There we go.
It's coming up.
You got it?
Not. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I've been voted a top 25 attorney in the country for EB5 for the last 2 years. Our team, just from an attorney standpoint, Jacqueline Trevino, who's also on this phone call, handles our source of funds for EB5, and we'll talk about that here shortly. And then we have a documentation team and a source of funds team that are behind us, both here and in India, helping us with getting through files as they can be complicated. So a real quick disclaimer so everybody knows, this presentation is for information purposes only. Nothing in this presentation is to be constituted as financial advice or promotion of any project. Now, while Ishwar is going to talk about his project, I'm very familiar with his project and can answer the questions about it. I'm not here to promote the project. I'm here to educate about EB5 so everybody understands how the EB5 process works. Like I said, I've been an EB5 immigration specialist. I've been top 25 attorney for the last 2 years, 19 years of immigration, really now 20 years of immigration and real estate experience. So today we're going to talk about these 6 bullet points: investment amounts, program set-asides, processing time, source of funds, job creation requirements, and concurrent filing, which a lot of people will be interested in. But before we talk about any of those, I want to make sure that I talk about the gold card, because I think there's some questions earlier about the gold card. What is it? How is it? Where is it? So a couple of things. The EB5 program is set by Congress, and only Congress can actually get rid of it or change it or extend it. The president can't do that by executive action. So in order to extend the program, it expires in 2027, but anything that happens before 2027 is grandfathered in to today's program. Discussions will start next year, late next year, early the year after, about extending the EB5 program. And the gold card that has been talked about by President Trump, his people, could possibly be a reality, but it's not to replace the EB5 program. It's a totally different program if it ever comes to actually comes to light. That program would be an investment within the government, not private investments. It would be $5 million if it happens. It's not into private projects. We don't know what the program would look like. We don't know what the rules would look like. We really don't know a lot about it because there's been no real proposal about it. So while there's a lot of talk about it, and a lot of people are scared that the EB5 program is going to go away, or a lot of people are worried that the gold card is going to take over, the reality is none of that's a reality. We do think that something will happen eventually, because when President Trump says he wants to do something, doesn't matter what form it's in, he's going to try to make it happen. But at this time, EB5 is our main focus. We're very well aware of what's going on. We talk to immigration attorneys throughout the country. And for anybody here listening, the immigration EB5 world is relatively small. We all kind of know each other. We know all the other attorneys. We know all the regional centers. We know everyone. And we talk about these all the time. We were just at a conference a few weeks ago, and this was the main topic, was the gold card. So just wanted to make sure I got that out of the way. I don't mind answering questions about it, but the reality is there's probably not any clear answers other than what I just said. So EB5 investment amounts. As everybody knows, in EB5, it's $800,000 in rural high unemployment or infrastructure projects. It's $1.05 million in all other areas. The project location determines how much you invest. So Ishwar is going to talk about his project, but their project is an $800,000 investment because it falls in a high unemployment area. That's already been determined. They already have the statistical data to do that. That's already been submitted to immigration, and that won't change for the duration of this project for anybody that invests during this time. I don't know where that's coming. Okay. There's also, so what happened in 2022 is all of EB5 changed, and they became program set-asides, and that's what the three categories that we just talked about are. These three categories didn't exist until 2022. There's three categories: are rural areas, high unemployment areas, and infrastructure areas or projects. The reason that the USCIS and Congress did this is where they wanted more construction to happen. They wanted it to happen in rural areas. They wanted it to happen in high unemployment areas. They wanted it to happen in infrastructure projects that are helping the roads or airports or have a government interest. So they created set-asides that give us higher priority and faster processing if you invest in one of these three areas. This project is a high unemployment area. There's 20% of the visas are set aside for rural area, 10% for high unemployment as a priority. Doesn't mean that only 10% goes and only 20% goes. And then for the rest of it, there's I believe it's 2% for infrastructure. There's not very many infrastructure projects. And then everything, if it doesn't get filled up, goes back to these areas. But majority of your deals right now are rural and high unemployment areas like Ishwar was going to talk about today. Why do you want to invest in these areas? Because there's faster processing times. It's a lower investment, $800,000 versus $1.05 million. And as long as the visa is current, which it's current for every country in the world today, and you're in the United States, presently and legally in the US, then you can do concurrent filing, which we'll talk about here in a second. Processing times, and these are always going to change, and that's why they're so big. But the pre-RIA, which is a pre-2020 change of laws, it was taking 4 to 6 years for an EB5 application to be processed, and sometimes even longer. Once the laws changed, technically they were supposed to do it in 6 months. That doesn't mean the government's been doing it in 6 months. We've seen processing times go from anywhere from when this first started in rural projects to 30 days to now we're seeing 12 to 24 months. It could get a little bit faster. It could get a little bit slower. We don't know. We know that the visas are current right now. Sorry? Oh, sorry. So they're current right now, and they're current for the month of June. We anticipate them being current for the next several months, but we're not sure. What does it mean? You're going to have quicker access to EAD and advanced parole with concurrent filing. But remember, these times are not something that we control, Ishwar controls. Really and truthfully, they don't even give you real information on how USCIS calculates it. We know the visas reset in October. So if the visas are unused, we're going to have a brand new set of 10,000 visas in October, and the unused ones are going to go back to the areas that they weren't used in, but we just don't know those numbers. I'm pretty optimistic that these times will stay pretty consistent. But once again, I can't predict that. There's a lot of information out there that some people say that things are going to take so many years versus some other projects. And I think people are just guessing and trying to put fear in the market instead of giving the truth, which is nobody really actually knows. So this is the most important part of EB5 for us. This is where we spend about 90% of our time. And this is where immigration spends 90% of their time on EB5, is your source of funds. So number one is all money has to be 100% at risk. No matter what a deal says to you, no matter how many times you read on EB5 that somebody says, I'm guaranteeing their funds, they're not guaranteeing your funds. The funds may be guaranteed by real estate. The funds may be guaranteed in another way, but your funds are never guaranteed to be returned to you, because if they are, your EB5 application is going to get denied on its face. There's no documents that's going to guarantee your funds. Your money has to be at risk. I always use the example of, if I invested in NVIDIA tomorrow and they went bankrupt, I'm going to lose my money. Same concept here. You have to be confident in your investment. You have to be confident with the people you're investing in, and you have to know the project. You want to talk to your financial advisors. You want to talk to your accountant. You want to talk to your advisor about where to invest, because we can't give you financial advice. We can only tell you whether or not it's an EB5 viable project, which in this case, Ishwar's is a EB5 viable project. So these are the common things that you have to do. We have to trace all the funds to their origin. The common sources that we see in EB5 are income savings, either here or India, asset sale proceeds, once again, here or India, or overseas, inheritance, loans, gifts, salaries, stock options, stock trades, self-directed IRAs, loans against a 401k, home equity loans. So all of those are very, very common sources for us, and we see them all the time. But when we see them, that doesn't mean we can, as long as we have the funds and show where we got it from initially, we have to go back to really the day that money was printed. So essentially, like I said on these last 2 bullet points, I think you see here, your mindset on source of funds has to be traced from when the money was printed all the way until it gets to the investment account on Ishwar and his team. It's a forensic accounting that we're going to be doing, including the legal work. Tax returns are not enough. Bank statements, sale documents, loan agreements, etc., will be needed. Depending on the investor and where their money is coming from, that's what's going to dictate what documents we're going to need. So no 2 investors are ever going to look alike. We had an investor that won the lottery. I needed to know how they purchased the lottery ticket. That's all I needed to know, what money they used. If somebody comes in and says, I have income savings assets in India, I have to know the salary, the source, the W-2s, the bank statements. I have to know how they bought the property, what money they used to buy the property with, so on and so forth. So we're just working ourselves all the way backwards until we know where that money came from. So it's a pretty complicated process. Your source of funds dictates how long it takes us to get through the work, because one file may be really easy and one file may be extremely difficult. And I will talk to anybody individually about their, and I'll tell you how that process goes. And the other thing that I get questions all the time about is partial investment versus full investment. So partial versus full means that there are some deals out there, and I believe Ishwar, it takes it as a partial investment, where you could give a certain amount of money. We typically say, we like to tell clients at least $400,000, and then invest the second half of the money within 4 to 6 months after the initial investment. We can file with the partial investment, but we have to source all 800,000 when we file. So that means, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have $400,000 in savings, but you're getting you have stock options that you want to sell because the market is down. You want to wait 4 months. Well, we can do that. Or if you have a home equity loan you haven't gotten yet, we can do that as long as we show as immigration where you're going to be getting that money from. So we're very clear about that. Now, is there a little bit of room here and there? Of course there is. But there are partial investments allowed, and when we put the partial investment in and we file your application, your timeline starts then. We don't have to wait for the second half of the investment. But the longer we wait, the higher likelihood you're going to get an RFE or get issues on your file. So job creation requirements. This is something people always get confused about, is how do I know that there's going to be 10 jobs created? Each investor has to create 10 full-time jobs for U.S. citizens or green card holders. But in a project with a regional center, it's called indirect jobs. We're not even going to talk about direct jobs. So Ishwar and his team have given a budget and has hooked the entire project to an economist that's been doing EB5 for 15 years. And they put in an immigration approved formula for, if they complete this project, this is how many jobs they're going to produce. And I can't remember the number of jobs Ishwar. So 160?
162. Yeah.
162.
162 and 120 is what?
Yeah. So they have 162 jobs that they're allowed to use for EB5. That means so if I had 10 jobs per investor, they could take 16 investors. I don't believe they are. I believe they're taking less investors, and Ishwar will talk about that because that gives you a job cushion. But as long as they finish their project, they're going to be deemed those 162 jobs created. So nobody's actually going to see 162 W-2 direct employees. That doesn't exist. That's not what EB5 is. The only time you see that is in a direct deal, and direct deals are only for one investor, and those are going to be W-2 jobs, but that does not apply here. And that's probably like 2% of all EB5 is direct. The rest of it is going to be what we call indirect job creation. So after this, and the reason I put file I-829 to remove conditions is that's when they look to see that the jobs were created. So it's 2 years, it's 21 months after you get your conditional green card. They will ask for jobs reports, immigration will ask for jobs reports, and at that point we show the completion of the project. Ishwar and his team will have reports that are given by them in the regional center, and by that time we're talking maybe 3, 4, or 5 years from now. I don't want to say that I know that the jobs will be completed, but Ishwar can talk about their anticipation that the project will be done by then and the jobs will be created. So typically this doesn't come into play. It's very rare this becomes an issue. So concurrent filing, everybody asks about concurrent filing because right now that's the big push. So if you're in the US on legal status, H1, L1, F1, even though that's a single intent visa, we still do it. We've even worked with B1, B2. It's become a little more strict. And if you have an individual case, I can talk to you individually about it. As long as you're here on a legal status and we file your EB5 and the visa is current, like it is right now, we get to do concurrent filing. So your 526E application is your EB5 application. Your 485 is your green card application. Your 765 is your work authorization, and your 131 is your advanced parole. Within 4 to 6 months, you'll get your work authorization. You do not have to use it. You can keep it, put it in your back pocket, and never use it if you're an H1B or if you're an L1 or whatever it is. A lot of people don't use it because they want to wait until their EB5 gets approved. Some people are receiving their advanced parole with their work authorization. Some people, it's taking 2 or 3 months longer. If I had a reason as to why that's happening, I would love to tell you, but nobody knows why. We have one family where half the family received their advanced parole and the other half of the family hasn't. And there's no reason for it other than immigration, for some reason, isn't doing it. Now, if you leave the United States while your advanced parole is pending, your advanced parole will be canceled. So you have to make sure that if you leave, you have a way to get back, which is H1, L1, F1, whatever it may be. Then you will have to reapply for your advanced parole again after you come back to the US. We've had several clients that have had to leave for emergency because family health emergencies. They've had to reapply once they got back to the US. Now, there are emergency situations that we can try to apply, but those are rare circumstances. The big advantage of right now in concurrent filing, in addition to EAD and travel document, is your children's age is frozen forever. So even if there's retrogression, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, and your kid is now 25 years old, it doesn't matter. Your kid will get a green card on EB5. Their age is frozen the day we apply for the rest of their lives. As long as we don't break any laws, they will get a green card under EB5. So it doesn't matter how many years of retrogression ever happens. That's very different than other categories. And so that's really important to understand. And obviously, concurrent filing, there's quicker processing for priority processing for your infrastructure and, for your high unemployment and rural projects. So let me tell you what our process is. And what I would tell everybody to do is put your questions in a chat. And I think after Ishwar is done, we're going to go through and answer as many questions as we can in the time allotted. But kind of give you, and I'll put my information in there here shortly. The way our process works is if you're interested in doing EB5, you just email us. Ishwar will send you over, and we will schedule a call just like this. It'll be me, you, and Jacqueline on the phone call. We're going to send you a questionnaire. You'll fill it out, and we're going to go over your scenarios. We're going to go over all the questions that you have. It's a free consultation. We don't charge for it. And then after that, we're going to send you a spreadsheet that's going to have you put everything down that you just told us. And we're going to go over that again. We're still not going to charge you for that. We don't have you hire us until we know that you're a viable EB5 investor. And it may take a week, it may take 2 weeks. Once you do hire us, it takes on average 45 to 60 days to prepare all your fund forms, including your funds, your applications, all of that. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. It's really going to depend on the investor. But that's typical process and how it works. We're located here in Dallas, 95% of our calls are via Teams or Zoom or Google Meet, so we don't have a problem doing that. But if you want to meet in person, we can also do that as well. But we love to have this phone call because we get to know you and we get to give you the information that we want you guys to have and answer any questions about the process that you feel like you're confused about. There's a lot of information on Google chat boards, WhatsApp chats, all of these different things that are out there, and we're very well aware of everything that's being said. Remember, everything that's being said is anecdotal. There may be a case where something happened. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again, or that doesn't mean it's even the right thing. Immigration makes a lot of mistakes. Immigration does a lot of things, but two things are not equal. So we go by the law and tell you exactly what we think is going to happen, and that's usually the best way to go. Contact information is right here. I'll put this all in the chat, so don't worry. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. We'll set up a consultation. At the end of this call, we'll get all the questions answered. And I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll give you all a second or two if you want to write it down, but I'll put it in the chat.
Thanks, Rakesh. Praveen, are we good to go ahead with the project intro?
Yes,
Right
sure.
time?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I hope everyone able to see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Quick disclaimer. The Shopset Presidio EB5 Fund LP today's presentation is an investor information only. It is not guided or recommended or any sale of a security at this point of time. This is just an information standpoint. Once any potential investors interested in this EB5 project, it's a duly consultation with the law firm and the alignment with the PPM and the agreements. At that point of time, it is considered as a sale of transaction. At this point of time, this is absolutely information and a community service. So please be considered for that note and the disclaimer. So quickly go through that, myself, Nagalingeshwar Margani, I'm the principal general partner for this project. So my background is an IT background, 20 plus years, then started 9 years back real estate investing. So currently I manage a 25 plus $30 million active real estate construction projects. Quick introduction to my another three general partners, Srini Gisala. He is also a 20 plus years veteran. He is currently managing a 15 million active commercial real estate portfolio. Another partner, Kishore Mupineni, he is 25 years tech consultant and delivery leader. He's been with the real estate 12 years and managing a $25 million active real estate construction project. Another partner, Rajnikant Gunisati, a general partner, 20 plus years of IT consulting and 9 years of real estate in DFW market and $15 million. Just to call out that this project is already being reported to SEC under 506B, and this EB5 is again 506C. We are fully compliant with the SEC regulatory body and the compliance and other activities that what the PPM is required for. So this project is located in Dallas Fort Worth area. This is called as very near to the Alliance. So we are building an 48,000 square feet construction project. This project is pretty much 80%. We have a letter of intent, which means is that interested parties to buy it out. So we are not yet broke the ground, but this is very, very closer to the Costco. This qualifies under the urban targeted high unemployment area, which is qualified as a 10% visa set aside. This is current as we speak now. So the plan is we acquired this land of the 4.1 acres, and we pretty much securing the permits and approvals. We got the conditional permits, and we are anticipating the final permits in next 2 months. So as I speak, this is a retail restaurant and office and doctor space, 48,000 square feet plus or minus 3,000 square feet, subject to final city approval. So 80% of this space, as I mentioned, that already we have LOIs for this. The strategy is that build and sell these transactions. So exit from the construction project. So we closed this land on December 2024. We intended to get all the permits, but Q3 2025. We are planned to start our horizontal work in Q4, on or before Q4 2027. Complete the construction and close it out. This total overall project is 36 months. So this project has already been submitted for a file with the USIC. As Rakesh mentioned, that this project qualifies under Urban TEA, which is $800,000 TEA qualified investment. For also that, we also have another compliance requirement as an escrow agreement. Unlike majority of the other projects, we are not taking the investment amount into the corporate account. We have an escrow account for this project, and the escrow account has already been shared with the USIC. So right now, this project is eligible to accept the investors, and this project has been filed with USIC. I just want to call out that overall project is $17.6 million. So we already put the equity as $3.5 million. The EB5 loan, again, I just want to mention another point is that unlike other projects, this project structured as a secured loan. That means that this amount, whatever we are collecting from the EB5 investments, as considered as a loan and returned with the 2% yearly non-compounded interest. So $17.6 million project, $3.5 million already developers equity, and we already have entire 9.6 plus $4.5 million loan from the banks. However, we are raising a 9.6 from EB5 loan, and we have a $4.5 million from the bank, pre-aligned with that. So total, this project is $17.6 million. Just want to call out quick, nearby locations. This is just a 3 minutes drive from the Costco located. This is right on I-35 towards Austin, Dallas to Austin, and 287 intersection. Pretty much, it's 5 minutes drive from the Medical City, Alliance, and other medical hubs. And this is a 5 minutes drive from the Alliance Town Center. So pretty much, it's an HNI area, high net worth individual area, and I'm happy to share more information that about the site. And if anyone would like to visit the site, I'm happy to facilitate those things. So with this, I'll take I'll stop the presentation. I'll take a questions. So over to you, Praveen.
Sure. Thank you so much, Attorney Patel and Ishwar, for your valuable insights on EB5. Definitely, this is kind of encouraging for the green card aspirants. So I have a few things based on our discussion, right? So Attorney Patel, you mentioned that funds are at risk and there is no guarantee, and that is kind of really concerning, right? What does it mean when you say that funds are at risk? Can you explain that in layman terms? Because when you talk about $1 million investment, right, that could be lifetime savings for a lot of people, right? Can you throw some insights on what do you mean by risk of funds? Hello?
I think, Praveen, we need to unmute. Let me unmute Rakesh. So.
Okay. Sure. Sorry. Let me try that.
Works. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Praveen, I think your question is just what do I mean by at risk? Was that the gist of the question? Yeah. So I mean, look, EB5. This is the way I explain EB5. Imagine the immigration piece didn't exist, right? Imagine there was no Ishwar wasn't on this phone call. Imagine I wasn't on this phone call. Ishwar was only talking about his deal. It's the same concept. So if I'm a limited partner investor in a deal, if the deal goes bankrupt, if the deal gets half completed, if the deal can't sell, there is a risk and liability to anybody they invested, whether they be equity or whether they're debt. Now, there's different levels of risk, right? Ishwar, your deal is debt, correct?
Correct. Debt loan, yes.
Right. So this is senior debt. So I'm not, once again, I'm not promoting it. Not senior debt, it's junior debt. So I'm not promoting it, but what I'm saying is that if the deal were to go south, Ishwar is going to be the first one, or the investment group is going to be the first ones to lose their money, because the people that hold debt are going to get paid back first, depending on the schedule. So the reality is that yes, it's a lot of money. Yes, it's a big investment. That's why everybody has to do their homework to make sure they're comfortable where they invest their money.
Okay.
And I just want to add to Rakesh. Rakesh, please stop me, or if I misspoke or misrepresented. Also, Praveen, that just want to call out that as per the SEC guidelines for the 506C, any investment is subject to market risk. That also falls more under that Rakesh statement, that because this we report as per the compliance. We report to SEC. This considered as a 506C offering. So as per the SEC guidelines, that any investment is subject to market risk, and so that is where that statement is called out. Doesn't mean that this project is at risk. That is
Right.
a generic objective based on the SEC guidelines.
Well, and also remember, immigration's rule for EB5 is that that the money has to be at risk. And so take, even let's just say the SEC guidelines didn't exist. To get a green card, the money has to be at risk. That doesn't mean it's risky money. It just means it has to be at risk.
Yeah. Again, just adding to Rakesh, is that it is also a USISC, one of the understanding that any investment in EB5 program is at risk. So it's a generic, the risk in the risk investment approach from a calling standpoint, but doesn't mean that this is at risk at this point of time.
Correct.
All right. And Attorney Patel, so you also mentioned that the investors could borrow money as a gift, right? Is there a limit? Like how much money can they, say, like I have a friend where I'm ready to invest 1 million for him, just for him.
So there's two different things. There's loans and gifts. Okay. There's no limit on the amount. It can be 800,000 on both. There's no limit. You can get 800,000 on a loan. You can get $800,000 gift. We have to be very careful on the gift, because this is the example I use, is that I can get a loan from my friend and get a note and have to pay him back every month like I would a market loan, and that's normal. I have a lot of amazing friends. Nobody's gifting me money like that. It's not happening. So immigration puts a higher level of scrutiny on gifts from friends than they do close family. So we typically only allow gifts from close family members, like brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, possibly aunts, uncles, cousins. But then when you go out further than that, immigration looks at it as, well, are they giving this money back in India? Are they repaying them? What are they doing? And the scrutiny starts going up. And so that's on gifts. On loans, we can get it from anywhere. Loans, you can get money from anywhere, but we still have to source where that money came from, just like we would originally.
All right, great. So based on your experience, what are the common pitfalls or challenges that EB5 investors face, and how to be avoided?
Like during the process or after we finish the process?
Well, as holistically, like what?
Yeah, so after we file, there's really not a lot of pitfalls. It's the waiting game, right? We've done everything we need to. The investors done everything they need to. They've invested the money. You always want to make sure your developer, your regional center is giving you quarterly reports. So in this case, Ishwar and his group is giving quarterly reports, right? Which they're going to be, but even if it was not on this call, that's what I would tell the investor. I think the biggest pitfalls that we see is believing the anecdotal information that investors get, whether it be through Google research or through a WhatsApp. It really confuses people as to what is the right thing and the wrong thing to do. My biggest advice is, and whether it's us or another attorney that they trust, which is okay, make sure you talk to an experienced EB5 attorney. You don't want to go to your H1 attorney or L1 attorney who's never done an EB5 before, and then they're trying to learn how to do it. You want to go to an attorney that's filed 50, 100, 200 EB5s, so they've done hundreds of these, so they know what to advise them. And that's probably the biggest pitfall we see.
Great. And can you also talk to us about what are the potential RFEs that an EB5 investor could expect as part of this process?
Well, that's gonna. So our goal is to make sure that we try to mitigate or lose any RFEs that would ever happen. So on Ishwar, on regional centers and the way things work now, Ishwar's filed his file with EB5, the 956F. They will get an approval within how many ever months it takes. It's taking several months. I don't even know right now. I think average is 6. Ishwar, I think that's what Shay said. Yeah. And so then the project's approved. We don't have to worry about the project. Then it's just the individual. And the only thing that almost 99% of the time there's an RFE, it's about their funds because we're missing a link. We're missing a part of the chain. We're missing a bank statement. We're missing a tax return. That's what the RFE is going to be about. That's why we're we stress the source of funds and the documents up front so we don't have that issue later on.
Sure, thank you. And can you also talk to us about the regional centers in EB5 program?
Yeah, so regional centers, so they play a couple of different roles. Regional centers are basically a fiduciary duty. They're privately owned third-party entities, number one. So but they've applied to immigration to cover a geographic area to allow projects to be done in that area. Ishwar has rented or has an agreement with a regional center to use their name and also their reporting and also report to them so they can report to USCIS the progress of the project and what's going on as a fiduciary duty. It's essentially, the best way to say it is it's kind of help police the project to make sure everything is being done the way it's supposed to be done. So the investor has a protection and the developer has a protection. And it's approved by the government. It's an LLC, but it's approved by the government.
All right, thank you so much, Attorney Rakesh. And now I have a couple questions for Ishwar. So Ishwar, like, what is your intent? What is the main intent for starting this EB5 project?
Yeah, good question, right? This is my direct first project in EB5, but indirect it is third. That means that I'm part of other EB5 projects, which happen to be that Rakesh. That we are fully subscribed for those projects. So this is two aspects to that, right? One, that supporting community. Two, that instead of going to a traditional senior debt, rather than that in an opportunity for a win-win, that we can get in our EB5 investors. That way that we can limit exposure towards the senior debt. Though we have an fully now approval alignment from the bank, this is an opportunity for the for developers to obtain an EB5 investment in this as a loan standpoint. So it's purely an opportunity from both sides to supporting community, and also that as developers to have an in-house fund rather than going for a traditional senior debt. Did I address your question, Praveen?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a question. So I'm
Sure.
getting into investors' shoe, right?
Sure.
So what is the one piece of advice if someone made good money you would give? Is it a good idea to invest in EB5 on what you get versus what you lose?
So it's a purely a person to person, again, that subject to their financial advice and everything. But all I can speak to this about the project and why this project. All I can tell that two things, two aspects is that one, the location and the interest about that location. Two, that experience that what we are doing and everything, and the compliance. The EB5 falls under that how the developers aligning and respecting the compliance from an USIC standpoint, or from an SEC standpoint, and also the fund management standpoint. So as I mentioned, that unlike many other projects, we have a third-party USIC aligned proxy. That means that we can't draw the money directly. For what we need is we have a company called a proxy fund, PROX5 fund, that who manages this investment. So that means that we have an extra layer of policing and governing body that why we are drawing, for what we are drawing, are we leveraging that money, and that is an escrow account. So that's why that this project.
To add on to that, Ishwar saying this proxy fund company is one of the foremost third-party fund management companies in EB5. I know them very well. I know their owners very well. It's not just Issuer that's using them. Most of the larger projects in the country are using them. So they're one of the most well-respected.
Perfect. And in the interest of time, I think like I will take a few questions from the audience. So Rajab is asking, the processing dates for EB5 depends on the state and zone. Does the processing date depend for EB5 depends on the state and the zone?
Not the state. It just depends on the geographic location, and there's economic analysis that are done every 6 months that determine whether it falls in a rural or a high unemployment area. And the last one was done in April, was released April 19th. So another one will not be done for 6 more months. And this project falls in high unemployment, so we don't have to worry about that because it's already been filed.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you.
And doing agriculture business, I'm doing agriculture business. Can I still apply for EB5?
I mean, that's a separate question that you would have to talk to a deal side attorney on. That's not part of this project necessarily, but I mean, you can do a project in EB5 in really any industry. It's not industry specific.
Got it. Do we have loan options for partial investors?
Do we
If
have?
it's a partial investor, do they have any options to go for a loan?
I can just, Rakesh, if okay, I just give my thoughts, then please chime in if I misspoke. So the answer is, Praveen, that yes, but it is subject to the DTH, debt to income ratio, the ability of pay. Any loan, this is my understanding, Rakesh, again chime in, that any loan the potential investor intend to take, they should able to have the ability to pay and ability to pay the interest only loans. It means that if someone has taken the $400,000, the interest only loan with an 14% or 15% market loan, that means that they should able to have the debt to income ratio of that $1,200 per $100,000, which is like $4,800. They should have that capability to pay that loan amount, because ideally, so
They're going to
the
have
answer
to
is
show.
yes.
Yeah, short answer is yes, you can get a loan. The long answer is that depending on the loan, you have to not only show that you can pay the loan, you have to make payments on the loan. Because when the person goes to get their permanent green card, if they're in an interview and they can't show that they made payments on that loan, that may be a problem. So it's not just getting a loan. I think obtaining the loan is the easier part. It's continuing the payments on the loan is what we have to make sure.
Okay. So what's the PLG approval percentage till date?
Don't know that I have a percentage, but we've never had any files denied because of any source of funds or files on our part. We've probably had 3 or 4 denials in 10 years, and those denials were project related through COVID because the projects never started. And there are direct deals. They really had nothing to do with the investor.
Okay. And I think like someone has a confusion between rural investment versus urban. So yeah, I think like initially it was discussed 800 for rural and 1,050,000 for urban, right?
No.
It's other way around?
No. High unemployment and rural are 800,000. A non-high unemployment or non-rural area, which would be just a normal urban area, is going to be 1,050,000. This project is 800,000. It's a high unemployment area. Because you can have a high unemployment area in an urban area, if that makes sense, right? And so this is an $800,000 project. I will just say this to everybody that's listening. I don't even know of a project right now that's doing $1,050,000. It doesn't exist in the marketplace because there's no reason to invest in it.
So can we get loan for investing 800,000? So it was already addressed, so I don't want to repeat that. We don't want to discuss that now. So can you explain what is a regional center?
That's what I think I just explained earlier, that regional center. So I think I'm good with that one. The next one was the time frame for EB5 processing. Is that where we're at?
Yep.
So the time frame is, like I said earlier, 12 to 24 months. I would say probably closer to 18 to 24 months on high unemployment. But you get your work authorization and an advanced parole within 4 to 6 months after we apply. And your dates are locked in and your ages for your children are locked in at that point. So even if something were to happen, H1B or L1 or F1, you could always move over to your EAD and keep working.
I think we are getting close, so maybe I'll take my additional 3-4 questions. So is it possible to insure your investment via any insurance company?
I don't know of any personally, so I would probably I assure you probably don't know many either, so I don't know
No, I
many.
mean, yeah, but again, I don't want to speculate, but as I said, this is an SEC 506, C for an accredited investor. So there will be a PPM. PPM calls out the risks and, the investment methodology, right? Based on the SEC guidelines. So I highly doubt that any securities has any insurance, but subject to correction. So probably that is a question to the security attorney's office, probably, at this point of time, we don't know that. And I never
I've
heard
not
about
seen
that question. It's a
anybody
good
insure
question,
their
though.
investment in 10 years.
So what would be the exit strategy? And at the same time, can the EB5 applicant buy the same property at the end of the project?
So again, Rakesh, please chime in if I misspoke. But yes, these are the two aspects right now. One that we already have enough interest, because that we have not given any LOIs for the rest of the 20% is just for EB5. So I take the first part that to your question, right? Can EB5 investors can buy the property? This is the two separate aspects of investment. Because you invest in this, and buying is a different aspect. So I think that need to be taken to one-on-one case and see the compliance and the regulatory requirements and gaps. Probably, at this point of time, I defer that question to have a one-on-one consultation with Rakesh and see that how it fit the gaps.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a more complex answer than I could probably give right here. But the end of the day, the requirement is the money has to be invested for a minimum of 2 years by law. But the PPM, the subscription documents, are going to govern how long the money is actually invested.
So for this project, as I mentioned, that there's 3 years, but it is a 1+1 extension. But we are intended to complete in 3 years.
So
there was a
happens if
question.
the
I just
project-
quickly.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to quickly say that I spoke about exit strategy about EB5 and what happens if the project is extended beyond 2027. Right? That was an interesting question. I think once they file the application, as I mentioned, the PPM has a 3 years completion plus 1+1 extension by through PPM. Rakesh, please chime in that once it is filed, irrespective of 2027, that what the Congress takes the decision, it should not affect the application status quo. So over to you.
No, it won't. Then remember, this program has been around since 1990. This is not a new program. So we know that whatever happens in 2027, the current rules are going to apply to what we're talking about.
Great. And I think this would be our last question for today. So is there a lien of the property or project given on the money invested?
Yeah, it's a second lien.
Second lien.
By the doc. Yes.
All right. And it was so insightful. And thank you so much for your time, Attorney Rakesh and Ishwar. So now I'll pass it on to our International Services Director, Kavitha Reddy Garu, to say a few words, and then we can wrap up the call.
Thank you, Praveen. Ishwar. Thank you, Jyoti.
Sure.
Yeah. And it is a great webinar today. And thank you to our prestigious TTA founder, Paila Reddy Garu, and as well as our advisor, Dr. Vijaypal Reddy Garu, and co-chair Mohan Patlola Garu, as well as the member Bharat Madadi Garu, and Srinivas Anu Garu, as well as the past president Vamshi Reddy Garu, and our moderator today, Praveen Samala from Phoenix, Arizona, our BOD. And thank you, Praveen, always your energy for our organization from Arizona State. I appreciate all the time the webinars is successful and which is necessary. At this moment, panic situation going on. And obviously, 3 webinars are very useful, very necessary at this moment. And thank you, our greatest attorneys today, Rakesh Garu and Ishwar Margani Garu. And it is a very needful service today webinar. And obviously, our TTA prestigious organization doing a lot of things and happening. And it is a great service towards our society. Thank you very much and good evening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all, and thank you TTA for facilitating this. Really appreciate, and thank you to the leadership and governing body. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And if Naveen Anna is still here, Naveen Anna, thank you for helping us facilitate this.
Naveen Garu, President, the great President, doing a lot of service and a lot of necessary things. Sorry, forgot your name. Yeah.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Jyoti Garu.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you. Thank you, Naveen Garu. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. And
as
big
Jyoti Garu
kudos to
said,
all
it's
the
very good one.
participants.
And good evening, our TTA Arizona team also doing a lot of hard work behind the screen. Yeah. Thank you, Ananda.
Thanks to all the participants as well. I think like for a few, it's already dinner time.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yeah.
thank you, everyone. Thanks for your patience, and looking forward to meeting you again for a great session again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Yes.